you know, the team didn't help me to get the golden boot scenario. I would like to think that's out of context, or it's been twisted a little bit, and you know, because that doesn't add up to me. He's been successful there. His teammates have done a lot for him. He's done a lot for them. That really doesn't add up. Maybe it's a way to try and engineer a potential move somewhere else. I don't know. Chelsea are certainly in the hunt. We've had an internal fight recently, or power struggle, if you want to call it that, with the board and the owners and Antonio Conte, because he knows going into the Champions League next year and back into the Premier League, he needs a better squad. He needs better quality players. The Costa scenario will come to a head very soon, probably during the summer when he will leave. There's no real backup. That's why he's very young. They're talking about him going out on loan. And if you're talking one of the best in the world, you're talking Robert Lewandowski.
But what about Lukaku then? Because he's at least 4 years younger than Lewandowski. Both will probably attract a similar price tag. So who'd you go for? Do Chelsea just go for them both?
No, I don't think they would spend that amount of money. And I wouldn't care what age Romelu Lukaku was. There's not a comparison to be made between him and Robert Lewandowski. Lukaku's had some good seasons in the Premier League. Lewandowski is a world-class striker. Tried, tested, and proven.
No matter what league.
No, if we want to compare and contrast the ages, fine. That's what people will do. But Antonio Conte is not worried about what happens at Chelsea in 5 years' time. He's worried about what happens in 5 months and in 18 months' time. If he can get Lewandowski in, that would be a major stamp of approval that this board are backing this manager. And it would thrust Chelsea, I think, with some other signings, into a strong position for the Champions League next year with such quality up front. Now, is he going to leave Bayern Munich? The only thing I could see was London. If he wants to come and live in London, but Munich's not exactly a bad place to live. So I think it would be a difficult one, but if he could pull it off, Chelsea have the money to do it, it would be down to whether the player wants to leave Bayern Munich.
All right, thanks so much, Craig Burley. Well, there you have it. Sorry, Lukaku, but if Chelsea can get Lewandowski, you know he is the man to get. Craig Burley here with me. We're talking Sergio Aguero because, Craig, we know the situation Sergio Aguero is at Manchester City. He's got 2 years left on his contract, but yet he's told Chinese Super League clubs that he wants to see out his contract at Man City. But, Craig, I mean, it's obvious that Pep Guardiola does not have him as an automatic starter. And to have someone like him sat on the bench, is this really a good move for him?
Well, you know, the Man City manager has to make sure he's got other people that he can bring in if Aguero does go. Jesus came in, did great, young player, had an injury problem. You can't go with a youngster for the whole season, it's too risky. They talk about Aubameyang, but reports from Manchester are saying that Pep isn't interested in the Borussia Dortmund striker. So all things are leading to Aguero staying at the moment, which I don't think the coach would be too disappointed with. Look, he's a great player to have around the squad, he's a great player to start. He might not
Will he start?
Well, I don't know, that's the big question. The question marks have been over his attitude and I think the way he trains, and he has got a more freer approach to life. We can't get away from the fact he's a fantastic player. I actually think he's quite happy in Manchester. He's always seems to. There's never been anything coming out of his camp, Aguero's camp, saying, "Oh, we don't like the weather, we don't like this, we don't like." I think he's got a good relationship with his City fans. He's been hugely successful there. He scored that great goal that won them the league for the first time under Mancini, right at the death. I genuinely think he wants to stay. It's just whether the coach is going to try and use him as a piece in the jigsaw to get other players in.
But how long can you really and truly put up with that, though? Because, I mean, a name like Sergio Aguero, this is one of the top players in the world, you'd say, and to not be an automatic striker at your team.
Well, if he's saying I'm going to stay for the remainder of my contract, that's telling me that he's... Well, that's telling... Well, if he wants to stay, he stays. It's his call. You know, the club can try and sell him all they want. And I think what he's saying here is the ball's in my court. You might not play me, but I'm going to stay. And you're going to pay me whatever it is a week, and I'm going to take that. The ball is now in your court, and then we'll see where we go from there. I think that's what he's saying.
Well, he's clearly not into it for the money, because we know that the Chinese Super League was definitely splashing some cash his way, but this story will continue and we'll track it here. Bellerin is saying some pretty interesting comments about the Spanish youth system and the English youth system. Now, we know, Craig, that he left Barcelona, La Masia, when he was just 16 years old for Arsenal. He said that at Arsenal and in England, they're more technical with like mobility tests, body fat tests, hydration tests, whereas at Barcelona, it was just all about the football. Do these things really matter?
Well, I think if you filter down the Spanish league, the clubs lower down don't have the finances of the clubs lower down in the Premier League, certainly in the last 10 years. So I would imagine the facilities in the Premier League are or should be top dollar. However, I'm not buying the what the Spanish do is just not very good, and it's
obvious.
behind, because clearly the Spanish are not behind, right? They're not behind technically, they're not behind in terms of fitness, strength. Their players are dynamic. Their youngsters get an opportunity, which is everything England doesn't have. Yes, there is some decent talent has come through, but most of them are stifled by players coming in and the big money in the Premier League, and they never get a chance. So you can test somebody's body fat and do all you want, but if players are not getting an opportunity, you might as well render these things useless. And things are always different in different countries. Because they do it one way in one country doesn't mean it's better in another. I would be surprised, and especially at somebody like Barcelona, if they're way behind what an Arsenal or a United or a Chelsea or one of those are doing. So, bit of a strange comment. But it's certainly...
Well, he also mentioned about the competition. He said that in Spain and in Barcelona they would only play those Basque sides, so there wasn't much competition, whereas in the Premier League, like at Arsenal, you pretty much play everybody in England. So is that a massive factor?
From a youngster
Yes.
point of view? No, because when I was in the youth team at Chelsea, we played in regional, because you wouldn't want to travel up to the north, so we played regional when I was coming through against.
So it was also limited.
It was limited to London sides and just so far north of London, and just south. So it was in a catchment area in the southwest, and that's generally how they've always operated. It may have changed now, but I don't really see how that makes a difference to the development of any youngster coming through. It's a bit of a nonsense statement, if you ask me.
Ouch! Wow, that's the Craig we know and love there. So sorry, Bellerin, but we still are a bit confused by your statement.
Do you see?
Well, so no, this is online. It goes to more than just America, I presume, unless I don't know.
Do you see Premier League teams underperform in the Champions League because they bring in and move out too many players every transfer window?
I wouldn't say that's the reason they're not doing well. I mean, at the end of the day, they're bringing in good players, but I don't think the players that are in the Premier League are as talented as, Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich.
Just not been good enough.
Just not good enough.
Recently.
Liverpool question for you, Stevie.
Oh, marvellous.
Are they still in for Van Dijk? And if not, who should they buy for the centre-back position?
It doesn't look like they're still in for Van Dijk. Who should they buy? I think they need to go and get an experienced central defender who's been there, done it and seen it.
This is where you have to give us a name, Stevie.
Colo-Touré.
Go to Atletico Madrid and get Godin.
Yeah.
You talk about a guy who's not fancy, but who gets it done, and whoever's around him, he makes them better. He would do me fine for a couple of seasons.
I don't think Atletico can let him go, though, will they?
No.
I think that old transfer ban might come into play. Who realistically replaces Puel at Southampton and takes them to the next level?
The next level? What's this next level, Pater? Eh? Can you explain that to me?
Saints fans are ambitious these days.
Yeah, that's why they keep selling all their players. That's how much.
Eddie Howe, would that be a step up for him from Bournemouth to Southampton? Still close, probably could keep the same house.
Yeah, it probably
Practical.
would, yeah.
And vacuum cleaner.
And vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, but how are Southampton, as Craig said, they sell all the best players, so how are they supposed to get better than... They were 8th. Are you telling me that they're going to try and break into the top 6? Are they going to get past Everton, who was 7th? How did they get any better selling their players and changing the manager?
Bellerin is torn between two clubs. That is according to his good friend and teammate Denis Suarez. Stevie Nicol is here with me on this one. So Stevie, so we know the situation going on. Of course, there is reported interest from Barcelona, but he says, or his teammate says, that he's torn between that and the loyalty he has for Arsenal. Would you like to make this decision for him?
Listen, I think at the end of the day, he has to look at it from a professional point of view. There certainly isn't an awful lot of loyalty left in football. And from a personal point of view, for me, he has to go. He's going to go to a team who will be challenging, no question, for the Champions League next season.
Exactly.
You know, everybody wants to win the big prizes. If Hector Bellerin stays at Arsenal, then I'm pretty certain I can stick my neck out and say next season, I don't see Arsenal winning the Premier League, and I certainly don't see them getting any further in the Champions League because they're not in it.
So they can just challenge for fourth, which is what they tend to do anyway.
So what does he want to do? Does he want to stay at Arsenal and challenge to get in the top 4 and try and win the Europa League?
Well,
or do you go with Barcelona, try and win La Liga and try and win Champions League?
So it's plain and simple.
Oh,
so what
absolutely.
is this loyalty, Stevie? Because so many times we attack footballers for not having any loyalty. Here is a man that allegedly has this loyalty, and we're almost laughing at him.
Well, let me put it this way. I'm saying he's shown some loyalty, and I'm being kind to him.
But loyalty doesn't get you those trophies, does it?
I would suggest there's a little matter that he has, what, 4 or 5 years left on his contract?
Yes.
So it's got nothing to do with him, really, at the end of the day.
No.
Unless he walks out, it's down to Arsenal. And quite frankly, I don't see Arsenal letting him go.
Not even for Barcelona. Because if Barcelona come knocking...
Arsenal have to build. They have to keep the best players. Bellerin is one of the best players and will get better and better.
Indeed, still very young.
They can't let him go. They can't. They're crazy if they let him go.
All right, thank you so much, Stevie Dicko, and he is right indeed because he is at least there until 2022. So the ball is in Arsenal's court on this one, and they would be wise to not let Bellerin go. Right in the middle of the summer transfer window, so you know we've got to tackle some more rumor rate, and Shaka loves these rumors. Shaka, Riyad Mahrez to Juventus. That's definitely very greener pastures for the man from Leicester.
It is, after a disappointing season, but I looked at this and I'm not quite sure where he fits in at Juventus. Played on the right-hand side for Leicester, very attacking. Now, don't get me wrong, I think Mahrez is a wonderful player, but does he get in ahead of Pjanic? No. Unless Juventus are thinking about a total change of shape, and we've spoken about Dani Alves, and as much as I've said, I don't think he leaves Juventus. The only way this makes sense is that Dani Alves is leaving Turin. Otherwise, no. And as I've said before, I don't think Dani Alves is leaving Juventus. So I don't see this one making sense. As a result, I put that down as a miss.
Moving on now to Alexandre Lacazette. Lyon has been his home. Dare he break off and go to Paris?
Well, interesting turn of events. The Lyon president come out and saying he'd be happier to do business with PSG, a French club, than somebody else. And the thinking behind that is that the money stays in French football, French players stay in Liga. So from that regard, yes, it makes sense. Now, again, given PSG's own struggles, and despite Cavani's numbers, I still think Cavani, as much as I like him, too often chances go begging with Cavani. Maybe they see Lacazette as a good option, either as a replacement or alongside him. Let's remember, Cavani played as one of our front two alongside Ibrahimovic. That makes sense. I see that as being a hit.
Interesting one here now. John Terry leaving Chelsea with a bit of a bad taste in his mouth. Bet he didn't think he'd be playing anywhere else in the Premier League, but he does still want to play. So can Aston Villa give him that chance, and would that be good business all around?
Well, as much as I understand and I sympathise that John Terry doesn't want to play against his old club Chelsea, his only club Chelsea, I don't see why joining a championship club where the expectation is, well, we're going to aim for promotion here. How that ticks boxes for him either. Either you leave English football or you stay in English football. And if you're staying, I am sure John Terry will have a number of offers from other lower down the league, Premier League clubs. So as a result, this one doesn't make much sense for me either.
Joe Hart loaned to your dear, dear West Ham.
Yes.
Would this be a deal that you welcome with open arms?
Without question. I still think Joe Hart, despite the criticism he endured both at Torino and this week, I think Joe Hart is a wonderful goalkeeper. I think West Ham would be delighted to have him. They probably can't afford him in terms of wages. So maybe a loan deal makes perfect sense. Manchester City will pick up a part of that. Ticks boxes for everybody.
And finally, Kylian Mbappe, of course, everyone's been talking about this youngster, and he has been linked with Arsenal for some time now. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain says, I would love to see my friend there, but Shaka says, forget about it, keep dreaming, Ox, it's not going to happen. Why, Shaka? They need a big-time player.
I'm sure they do. If you're Kylian Mbappe, Arsenal is not your destination. We've had this discussion before. Nothing has changed.
He probably wants Champions League football.
He could come to West Ham. No, we could have him at West Ham.
You just said he would wants Champions League football. Which
no, let me tell you something. West Ham, everybody wants to go to West Ham. Now, if you change that to West Ham, I'll change my mind a little bit. I'm just saying.
Everybody wants to go to West Ham?
Everybody wants to go to West Ham.
Definitely not Mbappe. Thank you so much, Shaka Hislop. He wants to go back to West Ham, and we want to continue tracking all of these rumors in the transfer window, so you know to keep it here at ESPNFC.com.
Day and here to get you over